Alright people, let's talk Subway Sim 2. In a niche where disappointment seems to be the norm lately, Aerosoft has dropped another railway sim on us, the second entry in their Subway Sim lineup. So, is it worth your hard-earned cash? Hopefully, by the end of the video, you'll have your answer. Now, just before I get into it, I know I'm not about to ask you to like and subscribe. Full disclosure, I've never played Subway Sim Hamburg, but I've got a fair bit of experience with the Train Sim World series, SimRail, and even a little dabble in Train Simulator Classic, so any comparisons I make will likely be to one of those. Let's dive in. First impressions, and this is straight from my first stream of the game. I was asked a few times what I thought, and honestly, my opinion on this ASR is impressive, but I would like to see some further work done to it. I was impressed, still am, to be fair. After years of complaining about Train Sim's missing basic features, mirrors that work, platform monitors that actually show something, Subway Sim 2 just nails it. It is refreshing. These features are fully functional and are even built into trains that actually use them in real life. Same goes for in-game announcements and random events such as service disruptions and delays. Now, yeah, these things might sound small on their own, but put together, they create a level of immersion that's hard to find elsewhere. As the saying goes, a small drop makes a mighty ocean. One thing I always look for in these games is how they handle scenarios. I don't just want another A to B run with some rain slapped on, dovetail. I want variety, something that feels different. To be blunt, Train Sim World let me down in this regard. Sure, there are moments where it shines, but most scenarios just feel lazy. SimRail might do better, but I haven't explored it deeply enough just yet. Subway Sim 2 though? I've only done a few scenarios and I'm already pleasantly surprised. One of them involved a bunch of coupling and uncoupling cars, which is nothing new in the genre, but this time it was done in such a way that actually made me feel like a worker on a busy network. Another scenario had an in-game event going on and you could see a spike in passenger numbers at specific stations. And yes, those passengers actually board your train and get off at the final stop. There was also a scenario where I had to take a train to get cleaned, and the train actually had graffiti on it, like visible graffiti. It's little details like that matter. Oh, and there's actual radio chatter in many of these scenarios.
Du musst dir das ansehen. Da liegt ein Baum direkt auf den Gleisen.
Im Ernst? Wo bist du?
Der Baum liegt zwischen Dahlem-Dorf und Thielplatz. Also so kann ich sicher nicht weiterfahren.
Verstanden. Zum Glück ist hinter dir noch kein Zug. Du kannst bis zur nächsten Haltestelle rückwärts fahren. Am besten du evakuierst deine Passagiere dort erstmal. In der Zwischenzeit werde ich versuchen herauszufinden, wie es weitergeht.
Not just plain old simple subtitles. The only other sim I've seen do that is SimRail, but even then I've heard that might not last. And the cherry on top, there are also passenger announcements that you can make on a few of these scenarios.
Liebe Fahrgäste, wir stehen wegen eines Baums auf den Gleisen. Es besteht keine Gefahr, aber wir müssen zur letzten Station zurücksetzen. Sie können dort den Zug verlassen.
Now, let's talk content. And yeah, here's where Subway Sim 2 finally falls a bit short compared to the competition. From release, we've been given 3 lines, the U1 and U3 in Berlin, which traverse between 26 stations in total, and the U3 in Hamburg, with a total of 25 stations to explore. Rolling stock includes the A3L92 and the more modern HK for Berlin, and for Hamburg we get the DT5, which does come in 2 variants. So the offerings are decent but not massive. There is a real risk of the game feeling repetitive after a little while. That said, however, more content is on the way, and the existing scenarios plus the dynamic events in career mode should keep things fresh for a good bit. Now, speaking of career mode, I actually like it a lot. It gives structure to your gameplay, which I really appreciate. But if you're more into picking random services from a timetable, there is that option there also. In career mode, you get 3 shift options, each with varying difficulty levels and runtimes. And if you don't like the selection, refresh it or pick a completely random service. The in-game world is truly your oyster. During these career mode runs, or shifts as the game calls them, you might encounter random events, delays, breakdowns, signal failures, and even changing weather. And let me tell you, the dynamic weather here looks and transitions much better than what I've personally seen in some other sims. Again, all these little things add up to create a far more engaging experience. Performance is a hot topic, so here's my setup. I've got a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D CPU. For my GPU, I've got an RTX 3080 Ti and 32GB of RAM at 3600 MHz. That's DDR4, by the way. I've been playing at 1440p with the settings completely maxed out, and overall it's been smooth. That said, however, there are still moments where the frame rate dips below 60. It's not game breaking, but it's definitely noticeable, especially considering the visuals aren't exactly pushing AAA boundaries. They're fine, but not jaw-dropping. And don't get me started on those tree textures. Sometimes they actually won't even load until you're right up next to them. So yeah, some optimization wouldn't hurt. And to wrap things up, or at least try to, here's where I'm at. SubwaySim 2 has laid down a really promising foundation. There's a level of realism here that's been sorely missing in the train sim genre for a while. And for once, it actually feels like the devs care about the experience. But this is Aerosoft. And if you've been around the sim space for a while, you know their track record with long-term support isn't exactly stellar. Sure, Fernbus Simulator still gets updates, but the core experience just hasn't evolved. Driving the coaches still feels floaty and just weird, graphics are dated, and overall, it just feels like it's missing heart. And same with the bus. Development's crawling at a snail's pace, and the core gameplay still doesn't feel like real bus driving, not to mention the recent multiplayer falling completely flat on its face. So here's hoping SubwaySim 2 is different. I'd love to see them build on this instead of pulling a dovetail and releasing the same game with a new number every year. If they stick with it and keep improving, expanding and refining, this could be something really special. Thank you for watching. I hope this video has been of value to you.